Good morning, beautiful people. Marie Alessi here. It's school holidays here in Australia, and I had a bit of a sleep in, so I might still look a little bit tired. Um, Yet it was very important for me to get up and share a little bit about this topic of the commonalities between a battlefield and healing. And I am talking about healing grief here. So we will be looking at healing in a battlefield and healing in the space of grief. And in my copy about this very talk that I'm doing here, I ask what are the commonalities. And spoiler alert, I already gave it away, there are none. So before I get started with this topic, I actually want to tell you a little short story, a conversation that I had with a couple of friends and also with Rob a few years ago. When we look at our history, Rob was quite interested in history and watching movies or documentaries about it. And I remember one particular one, I can't remember the title, but it had a lot to do with the history of Hitler. And I said to him, I can't watch this. It really triggers me. And we had this discussion, and Rob said, but it's history. It's our, it's our background. And I said, well, our is quite a broad word for what's been happening there, because even when I say it's our background, I have not lived through it, but my grandparents have, and some of my aunties and uncles have. It is just something that literally feels like it's in my blood, it's in my DNA, it triggers me. And this is something I'm not going to go down that road at looking at genetics and looking at how unresolved pain or issues can actually trigger you through generations. That's a topic for another day. I'd love to talk about that. Yet today I want to look at these things where you need to understand that comparison in terms of when you look at a battlefield and you literally imagine a battlefield of wounded soldiers. It definitely triggers me. So this is coming with a trigger warning. I want you to really have that trigger warning before I ask you to actually imagine walking through a battlefield. Walking through a battlefield of wounded soldiers. If that is triggering you, if that is too much, I really rather have you stop the video there, maybe come back later and then move forward. And I will put the minutes where you can watch it from in the comments below, so you don't have to be triggered. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I don't want you to get triggered if that is too much for you. So for everybody else who wants to play along, I want you to really imagine and close your eyes and walk through this battlefield with me, where you have injured soldiers lying around everywhere. Some of them might be missing a limb. Some of them might be wounded so badly that they're catching their last breath as we speak. And others might be very, very lucky and stay unharmed or with just minor injuries. When you walk through that battlefield, no matter whether you are or are not trained as a nurse, as a doctor, you would do anything in your right mind to get them help or to get these people into a hospital or into a station where they can be looked after or dress their wounds on the battlefield. You would do anything that you can to support their safety, their healing, them being looked after. You'd be addressing it, you'd be dressing it, you'd be cleaning the wounds, you'd be there to help, to hold their hand if they might be catching their last breath, to be there for them, to sit with them, to talk comforting words. So here's what's actually happening when you think about how normal that is, how it is in our blood, in our absolute DNA, in our how we are built as human beings to help others when they're hurting. We would see people when they're injured on the side of the road, we'd stop our car and help them. We would do anything to help people. Now, let's look at the comparison, how that works with emotional wounds. And I'm talking very much in particular the space of grief. I just read something this morning that triggered me as well, and that's a very different trigger, but I'm going to share it here too. And that was a widow in a different widow group. And she said she was invited to a lunch for widows at church. So there was, I don't know, 20, 30 people from what she explained, I believe, widows. There were people from church, and they had a lunch created for them where the widows needed to line up with their plates, fetch their food, and go back to their tables. The widows sat alone. The staff from the church, the volunteers, the helpers sat alone. And this lady described that she couldn't get out fast enough. It was really quite torturing for her. It was tremendous to just sit there in this pain and to feel that separation, and the separation even be highlighted by the staff sitting on the church staff and volunteers sitting on one side of the room and the widows on the other side of the room. And nobody sat with them. Nobody came to hold space for them. Nobody came to talk comforting words and to be there for them. And unfortunately, this tiny little story that I read this morning, with perfect timing because I already had scheduled to come to talk to you about this, but this is just such a perfect example of how people usually deal with grieving people. They just ignore it, do not talk about it at all, don't come to speak comforting words because they have no words, they don't know what to say. That's a very common answer. Why did you not come and sit with me? I didn't know what to say. Or others come and sit with you and actually make the situation worse by saying, yes, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of injured people before, walk past. He's actually way worse off than you. Or his wound is really bad. Yeah, I can only imagine how bad that must be, that you're sitting there in your pain because I've seen this guy bleeding and this guy just took his last breath. I don't think you're going to make it. How brutal would that be if we did that on a battlefield? Nobody in their right mind would do that. Nobody. Yet in the space of grief, it happens all the time. I want you to think about it next time when you're talking to somebody who has lost someone. Do you sit with them? Do you listen and see where their pain actually is so you can help them? Do you speak comforting words? Do you just hold their hand? Do you just make sure that they know that they're not alone and there is help on its way and that they will get through it no matter what? Or just sit and listen, just sit and be with them. Don't just walk past when you see that somebody's hurting. We'd never do that with physical wounds, yet with emotional wounds, because we can't see them, we sometimes either don't recognize it, or we even walk past because we don't know what to do. I don't know how to heal grief. Well, I do. And that's why I wanted to invite you. If you're not already in our group, Loving Love After Loss, this is a field where you are looked after. This is a field that offers you healing and space where you can be sat with and loved upon, where people will reach out to you, listen to your pain, yet then don't leave you in that pain. And that's the biggest thing. We don't leave you in your pain. We sit with you, we listen to you, and that's where we pick you up from. We want you to heal. We want to listen to your pain. We want to be there for you. And if you're not watching this already in our group, I invite you to share this video with somebody who needs it, to let them watch that there is help out there for them, that there is a space called Loving Love After Loss. Please share it. Please like, subscribe, follow us, share the love. We need more and more people to share the love and to share the word that there is healing in grief. I always say when I listen to somebody's story, I understand that in the field of grief, you can't just say, you've got quite negative thinking around that. Let's just switch that to positive and tomorrow everything's going to be fine. That's not how it works. I treat your story, your pain, your hurt, your loss as the place where I pick you up from. The healing is the space that happens in between. And then there is a destination of joy and happiness. And that's where I would like all of you to get to. no matter how injured you are right now. I'm sending you so much love, and I'd love for you to send me a private message. Have an amazing day. This is Marie. Bye for now.